it feels like a really fertile time to be making this because of, the doubt that people have in truth in the present age. I mean, are you an optimist, that the truth will out, or do you think we're going to continue to descend into a rabbit hole because of so much conflicting information on the internet?
I wish I could say yes, I'm an optimist, but I don't think so. I think, like the main character, I'm very skeptical, and I don't know what our if we're going to get political, what our way out is. If anyone's seen John Mulaney's "There's a Horse Loose in a Hospital," he does this whole comedy routine about that. You can find on the internet. To me, it's like he says, "I think everything's going to be okay, but I have no idea what's going to happen next," and that's kind of how I feel about certainly American politics at this point. Who knows? So, but am I an optimist? I don't know. It's hard to be an optimist, I think, in this day and age right now.
At the risk of making a gross generalisation, a lot of Canadian cinema seems to be a bit more cerebral than its neighbouring equivalent. As such, what do you see as kind of like the future of this film? Have you already got a distribution deal in Canada? Do you think it's going to, do well because of, an appetite for, I guess?
Not at this point. I mean, this is only the second
Right.
screening. It screened last week in New York. Certainly there's a much bigger, 10 times as many people here today.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, no, it just shows you how London is better than New York in terms of, cinematic apathy anyway. So no, it's still at the beginning of its run. Hopefully I've got it in a bunch of other festivals. I'm hoping to hear from a bunch in the next couple of weeks. And then, we'll see about distribution down the line. So yeah, and at this point, for me, it was sort of like, this was a labor of love. I didn't spend that much money on it compared to most things. And it was really just to direct something, because I hadn't directed anything in about 10 years. And before I become stale and irrelevant, I was like, I better go and do this. And like I said, I had a window last year where I knew I could do it, because I knew I was doing a TV show like later in the year. And I was like, well, the window's here. It's probably only going to exist for this year, or I'm not going to be able to do this for another 5 years, and then I'll be old and I won't care and I won't want to do it. So anyway, so yeah, who knows what the future brings? But I mean, I hope obviously that I can sell it so that people can say, hey, how can I see the film? We'll just go to this, go to Apple and you can download, go to Netflix, or who knows. But right now it's it's just on the festival circuit. So.
Well, and as the lead character is someone who makes kind of viral videos, that might actually be a really good way of marketing it, to kind of have her videos released into the wild, to learn more.
Actually, we actually recorded some. Well, the opening sequence, we actually recorded about 5 other alternates that was intended to be like part of like on the 1 o'clock YouTube channel, and release those videos as if it's a real thing. But that's sort of down the line once we get into the more sort of marketing. If a sales and distribution person is interested, or a company is interested in it at this point, And the other thing, I was even told by a consultant that I hired last month, there was like, you've already released it. In film festivals, some distribution companies want to take charge of it. And I was like, well, I can't go back in time and change what I've already done. So
without taking an illegal Mexican drug.
Exactly. So.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions for the director? Yep, at the back.
Yeah. In one scene, she leaves her apartment door open to go see the guy in the car. Like, no one in New York would ever do that.
She's not supposed to be in New York. If you notice, the license plates on her never actually really say where she is, but the license plates say District of Columbia. She's supposed to be in Washington, D.C.
And everyone in D.C. is trustworthy.
Well, Anyway, no, it's a good point. But I mean, again, did that really happen? I mean, it's kind of surreal. And she's got those men in black, protecting her. I doubt anyone's gonna screw around with her, or screw around with her apartment anyway. But who knows?
There was one on this side of the room. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. It's a very dialogue-rich production, and Paula has quite a lot to do in it, and you really have to keep your wits about you. And you're being told, what's the significance of the pen? It only comes at the end. Did you revise the script much, because you've got a lot of political stuff going on in the States at the moment? Mm-hmm. Or did you hone it down and it was done? Yeah,
not so much. I mean, I find that, it it's structured the way it was out of necessity. It was also like, I want to make a film for a limited amount of money. Also, the one joke I kept making is we're going to make an alien film with no aliens in it. Because at some point with stock footage, we were like, oh, we can stick one in here. I was like, no. We gotta, not do that. I don't know. I mean, it's the old adage they talk about: the film you write is not the film you direct, is not the film you edit. And certainly, because it was so dialogue heavy, the great thing was my editor Julia, who would be like, "Oh, she's Spanish. She's like, I'm so bored at this point." It's like I was like, "Okay, well, we can cut these beats out." So she was really instrumental. Even like the scenes as shot were always probably about a page longer, and she'd go in and sort of surgically go, "Okay, this makes it flow better." So that, and I think you can. I mean, yes, you have to pay attention, but I think it's coherent in its logic. I like to hope so anyway, because story logic is something that bothers me in most big budget films. I'm just flabbergasted by how little story logic there is in most Marvel films. You're like, why is he doing that? He's blowing up. It's like, I don't understand what's going on. And I bring this up to Marvel fans, and they're like, it's just a movie. Come on, it's a comic book. Like, so they can't afford to have any sort of story logic to it? Apparently not.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the middle. Yep.
Hi. I was very interested in how you use the metaphor of the pen as a sort of grounding element, and for me, in the film, it was the Vivaldi and the Bruegel was the grounding element with the lingering shot and so on and so forth. So why Vivaldi and Bruegel? It's very far in the past. It's non-technological.
It's copyright free.
The Bruegel, she's referring to the just in case you don't know, the painting that's above the fireplace in the Hunters in Winter. I believe is what it's called. It's a somewhat veiled reference homage to Tarkovsky's Solaris. There's a scene where she's looking at you've seen the film, the clone of his wife is looking at the painting, and it kind of goes into this montage of that painting before they go into zero gravity and start levitating. So that was the only significance of that, which is another alien movie where you never see the aliens either. As for the Vivaldi, I just like Vivaldi, and also the stock music company I was using had those clips, and I was able to license them for very little money. So I was like, I'd actually put it in as just temp track when we were editing, and then realizing it works, and I could just buy them for like $1,500, and I'm like, okay, and then the rest of the score done by Steve London was, sort of complemented that. So there's no sort of higher.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah, but it worked. So I was like, if it works, okay, let's just go with it, And I do like classical music. Like Kubrick always is often using classical music to the point where you can't listen to Holes to Planets without thinking of 2001. Like he's ruined it for anyone else, and no one else can now use it in a movie without it evoking that film. So
the best compliment to this film would be if you've ruined Vivaldi.
If I've ruined Vivaldi for you forever, that would be fantastic.
Any other questions? No?
All right. Well, thanks very much for everyone who came. I really appreciate it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.